Gentle yoga for back care. I'm looking at my gear that I need. We use a yoga block. You don't have a yoga block today, that's okay. I record the class to where you can go back and redo the class with the gear and you kind of notice the difference, yeah? And then also use a yoga strap. So we use that in Piriformis Bounce, in Pigeon or Pigeon. And we also do it in Big Toe Hold and maybe some other ones too. Joanna, welcome to the room. So this class only happens every other week. The other class is the chair Tai Chi. So let me get my stuff off the screen here, the participant list, and I'll keep the comments on. All right, so welcome. I'm going to stand up, come to the back of the room. We're starting standing today. If you like to do the class seated on the chair, that's cool too. I try to give all the verbal cues for that. Let me move the front chair out of the way. You know what? I'm going to get a little sip of water too. Hey there. Welcome, Robert, to the room. Wet my whistle. Okay. So again, if you want to do this sitting down on the chair, that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to come here on my yoga mat. Today, I came with 2 yoga blocks because I always talk about if you have 2 yoga blocks, but I never have that second yoga block. And I probably won't mention it since I do have 2 yoga blocks. It's Murphy's Law today. So what I invite you to do is sit tall on your chair, sit tall on your yoga mat, kind of wiggle those shoulders a little bit, get that tension out. And a little soft bend in the knees. And then I invite you to just stand here in what we call mountain pose or Tadasana. Now, we just don't stand here. We try to make it a very active pose. So what do I mean by that? We're going to press down into the floor and imagine there's a wrinkle here on the floor. We hate wrinkles. So we're going to press down and away. So we activate the musculature in the knees, in the calves, in the thighs, in the booty. So for back yoga, you need to have strong lower body muscles. By being intentional with your yoga postures, that makes it happen a little bit easier. So again, push down into the floor, whether you're seated, whether you're standing, and push away. Very good. Now relax those shoulders. And I invite you to bring your hands onto your lower belly and a little bit there at your belly button and above. Again, relaxing the shoulders. Let's start with the breath. So let's breathe in and expand the belly out. The chest rises also. And then exhale, really draw that belly button towards your spine. Let's do that again. Breathe in, belly out. Make those ribs expand. All right. And then exhale, belly button towards your spine. One more time. Here we go. Breathe in, belly out. And exhale. Beautiful. From here, release the gripping on the floor with your feet and just basically kind of bend one knee then the other, whether you're seated, whether you're standing here. So we're kind of getting into that hip musculature, back of the legs, front of the legs, the calves. There's a little bit of a calf pump going on when you bend the knees and you're kind of wriggling those hips a little bit. Very good. And we're going to do what's called shaking gong just to kind of get a little energy into the body. We're just going to shake the hands. And if you're standing, bend the knees a little bit. And again, it's kind of loosey-goosey. And then let's bring it up. And then turn it to the side. Turn it to the other side. Bring the hands down, kind of flap those wrists. And then turn the palms up. That's good for that carpal tunnel. Whether you're seated, whether you're standing, let's swing the arms. Bend the knees also. You're seated in the chair, you can do heel lifts or just keep the feet still. Again, we're waking up the major joints in our body just to begin with. So again, motion is lotion. If you rest, you're going to rust. I've been waiting to say that. Tap the top of the shoulders so we get a little extra bend in the elbows. Notice where you're feeling stuff today. I'm feeling it here in my right knee. Again, I have a spicy knee. I have a spicy back. So this is the great class for that. Let's do 2 more. 2 and 1. And just kind of let the arms kind of swing here. From here, I invite you to interlace the fingers and then push the hands away. Kind of feel that stretch. Try to keep the elbows straight and bring it up. Bring it up. If you can, overhead, and really push the hands overhead and up. I'm kind of off camera here. That's okay. You know what I'm doing. And then bring it back down and release. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up. And then exhale, float those arms down. All right, we're going to come down to the floor. Now, if you're staying in the chair, you're going to stay in the chair. So I use the chair to come down to the floor and come up off the floor. And I just gently come down. I've got a spicy knee, so sometimes I use that yoga blanket, which is optional, to cushion my knee when we're on hands and knees. And we're going to go ahead and tip over onto our behind, our back. We're going to do is called constructive rest posture. So from here, let's go ahead and get down onto our back. Ooh, snap, crackle, pop. I can feel my spine kind of doing its weird thing here. For me, this feels uncomfortable. So I'm going to grab my wrist, pull my shoulder up and away. That usually feels better already. And then do the other one. And then my eyes are kind of like pointed to the back of the room. So what I like to do is take my hands back behind my atlas point, or that little, that roundy part of the back of the head, lift my head, tuck that chin in towards my chest and elongate it. And it feels kind of weird for my neck, but it feels better for the cervical spine. Now, if this is not comfortable for you, you can take that yoga blanket or a towel, maybe place it underneath the back of the shoulders, the back of the head to make it more comfortable. You're seated in the chair, come away from the back of the chair so you engage those tall posture muscles. So if you can stay here 5 to 10 minutes, if you have spicy back challenges, this is good for releasing back challenges. You can do this on the couch, on the bed, on the floor, if you can get down to the floor easily. And I'm looking to see where's my yoga strap. I want to keep it close by because we're going to do big toe hold in just a second. But from here, you know what? Let's do windshield wipers. If you're doing windshield wipers on the chair, you put your feet on the yoga block and you place your balls of the feet on the yoga block to make it a little bit more where you're going from side to side. If you can do it with the feet on the floor, that works too. But what we'll do here is we're going to open up a knee out to the side. So for me, I typically take my yoga block and place it underneath to rest my leg weight because I'm laying on the side of the foot, but kind of, and inviting a release here in that hip musculature. It doesn't usually happen the first time around though. It's kind of stiff to begin with. And then we're going to take that top leg, drop it towards that bottom leg. And I notice my top behind, my booty is coming off the yoga mat with a little curve. We got a little low lumbar twist here. Keep it between the easy and ouch. Both my backs of my shoulders are on the yoga mat. And then I'm going to contract my belly button towards my spine, invite the top leg back to the center. Use your hands if necessary, and then the bottom leg back to the center. Woo. All right, so that was one side of our windshield wipers, like on the car where they go back and forth. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, other side. So drop the knee out. Now, I don't need the yoga block on the other side. And again, I have some asymmetry. Things are not the same one side versus the other. And I'm going to take that top leg, drop it towards that bottom leg. And again, my top booty is kind of rolled up off the spine. I can bring some of my hand underneath where my behind used to be. So again, I got a little range of motion going on here, and it feels okay in the body. What I sometimes like to do here is take either the heel of my hand or my thumb, press it into that hip bone or that area that has a little kind of spice going on. I do a counter pressure. I press into it a little bit, kind of release that fascia, fascia, however you say that. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't, and it's okay either way. Now, let's bring it back to the center. Sometimes I grab my yoga pant, pull it back to the center, and do the other one. Depends how spicy my hips feel, yeah? Let's do windshield wipers again. So drop a knee out to the side. I don't need it the second time. It's already kind of opened up a little bit. And then take that other leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. And again, I take my hand underneath, and I've got some of my mid-back, some of my near my shoulder blades off the yoga mat in this low lumbar twist, this windshield wiper thing that we do for easing back tension. Now bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Woo! Let's do that again. Other side. Drop the knee out to the side. Then the other one, invite it. And again, I'm going to take that hand underneath to see, yeah, I've kind of released away from the floor a little bit. That's one word for it, yeah. And then invite the leg back to the center, then the other. Very good. You know what? If you can, just kind of march in place here. And then come up on your feet or the balls of the feet and shake the legs. If you're seated in the chair, balls of the feet. If you're here on the yoga mat, just shake the legs. And then let's do notice pose. So we're going to extend a leg all the way down to the edge of the yoga mat. If you're seated in a chair, extend the leg, rest on the back of the heel, and then do the other one. You can feel this more on your back than you can seated in the chair, but just kind of notice, okay, where are the tight, the constricted, the strongly held areas in your body? For me, it's the bottom of the shoulders, the right hip, that left calf. So notice what you notice in what's going on with you. And if you've not really noticed this before, there may be something going on, there may not. Now you're going to squeeze the belly button towards the spine and then slide a foot back up onto your yoga mat, back towards your chair if you're seated, and then the other one. And let's go back to shaking the legs, get that muscle memory out of the body, and then soft little marches in place. That's a little bone density building there too. And then grab your yoga strap. We're going to do big toe hold next. Yay! Or boo. This is one of our bone building exercises. We be very vigorous in our posture. Whether you're seated, whether you're lying on their back, you're going to take the middle of your strap or, somewhere near the middle and then invite the foot to be gathering that strap along the bottom of the foot. And then if you're seated, you extend the leg out, rest on the back of the heel, straight out in front of you. If you're here lying on the floor, well, you've got the strap and one arm on either side of the strap, and then invite it towards you to where you find a naturally stopping point. That's usually where I feel the hamstring kind of grabbing me. And then toes towards you. Now we're going to make this a little bit more vigorous. You're resting on the back of the heel if you're seated on the chair. You're going to grab the yoga strap, both hands, and then you're going to pull your hands towards you to where you're really kind of feeling, ooh, a little bit more. And you know what? I'm going to bend my knee a little bit and then push the foot away. So you should be feeling this vigorously, probably in the hands, the forearms, the bottom of the foot. If it's spicy for the back of the knee, bend the knee just a little bit, but you're still flexing toes towards you. We hold this position about 30 seconds to get that bone building benefit. If you want more information about the yoga postures for bone building, look up Osteopenia 12 yoga postures. And the key to that is holding the poses vigorously. Kind of like what we just did with mountain pose. We push down and away, which when we contract those big muscle groups here or in mountain pose that we did previously, that stimulates bone growth when you hold the position. Now, if you need to come out of a yoga posture at any time, please do so, re-engage. All right, so the other foot, it's not doing anything. Let's make it do something. Let's tap, tap, tap that other foot. Tap, 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 a little vibrational energy felt throughout the body. And then we're going to take this big toe hold leg and bring it out to the side. We got to re-engage, pull, push. You know what we need to do with that other leg? If you're laying on your back, bring it out into a windshield wiper. So it's kind of like a counterweight. If you find that opposite hip starts to roll up off the ground, you've gone too far. Now mine doesn't come down very far. Are you still pulling and pushing into the yoga strap? It needs to be vigorous. We're working at an angle here with our hip musculature, our bones. So this is a very beneficial pose for building bones, for easing back challenges, because we're working the tissues. Yay! Or maybe not yay. I don't know. My hands are going, what are you doing? I'm increasing my grip strength. Grip strength is one of the indicators of longevity. Can you still open up that jar of pickles? I need a little squeezy thing to do that. All right, we got to stay here a couple more seconds, which means you get to hear me talk. I don't know if that's a benefit or not. We're just going to assume that it is. All right, bring it back to the center, everything back to the center. Release the strap, my favorite part of that pose. My hands are all stoved up. So clap the hands. We'll do it again. And let's rub some circulation back into the hands. Warm them up if you need to. Because when we hold that strap vigorously, man, we're here for a long time. What you can do though is wrap your hands around the strap if you want a different hold. I'll show that on the second time. On the other side, okay? Hands should be pretty warm by now. Let's grab the strap, do the other side. So find the middle. I gotta raise up to find it. Very good. Okay, again, other side, leg is straight if you're doing this on the chair. And it's kind of at the halfway point. Well, I got a super long strap. Who knows, right? And then I'm going to bring it away from me and then start inviting it to me to where I find that natural stopping place. Woo, that's it. It's different on this side. And then do your feet tend to turn out to the side, line it up with the shin, the knee, the leg. Now, here we go. Pull, bend the knee a little bit, and then push it away. We're being vigorous in our yoga posture here. Woo! Don't forget to breathe. Let's breathe in through the nose. Oh, I'm kind of stuffy today. And then exhale. Let's do that again. Breathing in and exhaling. So these are yoga postures that have been cultivated over additional training, over living in my own body that help ease back tension, help strengthen upper, lower back musculature in the hips and everything around that kind of contributes to back pain. There's 45 to 60 yoga postures we can do to help us with that. They're very specific though. All right, so leg that's in the air, we're gonna take the other foot, tap, tap, tap. Leg is still in the air. And then drop the knee out to the side. Then this time, let's lower out to the side. Now, sometimes again, the hands are going, I don't like how we're gripping this. Maybe bring your hands more towards you and then wrap the strap around the wrists and continue to push. I get a little twist in my yoga strap when that happens, but that's okay. It's a different type of hanging on to the yoga strap. You might be feeling some spice. That's my word for it. Let's breathe in. Redirect your senses to listening to your breath. Breathe in through the nose. Belly expands if you can, and then exhale. Let the belly release. Again, breathe in, belly out, and exhale. So this lower belly breathing helps improve cerebral spinal fluid flow, which kind of helps you get rid of the waste in the brain. So it's one of the Alzheimer's prevention breathing methods for getting rid of that lymphatic waste that accumulates in the brain. So expand the belly and exhale. Let's bring everything back to the center. Woo! Release the foot from the strap from the foot. Bring that foot down, clap the hands. Ooh, clap them again. Get some heat going on here. I love it. And then go back to walking in place as you're rubbing the hands. So we're doing a little brain work here, upper body, lower body. And then wiggle the legs, shake the legs, keep rubbing the hands. Very nice. Now I invite you to bring a knee in towards your chest, whether you're seated, whether you're sitting on the chair or laying on the yoga mat, and let's point and flex the foot. We were activating that calf muscle with a big toe hold, but now we're doing a little ankle articulation, little calf pumping, returning the blood flow to the heart for those lower extremities. This is great for avoiding leg cramps also. Sometimes I go slower. And then pause that. We're going to draw a circle in towards the center. Make it the tiniest circle that you can do. And then make it a medium circle and then the biggest one. And then pause, completely stop. We're going to go the other direction. Do a tiny circle first. Find motor skills. I'm not good at this. And then medium circle. I'm better at the medium and the big one. And then the biggest circle. Woo! And release that foot down, other side. Sometimes I kind of lean back in my chair when I'm doing this seated. So you can either have your hands here on the shin or back behind the knee. You get to choose here, okay? And point and flex. Notice what you notice. Does this feel different this side versus the other? It might. And then from here, make it still, and we're going to draw the circle inward. Tiny first, and then increase the size. Oop, snap, crackle, pop there. And then a big ankle circle. And then stop completely, and then tiny little circle going the other direction. And make it bigger, and then bigger. What does this have to do with back pain? So, this is the base of all of us walking, right? You don't have strong ankles. You may be doing kind of a shuffle or kind of a stiff foot type of walk. That's not good because you're not going through your range of motion that you would do with a normal walking gait. And release that down to the floor. Shake those legs again. Shake, shake, shake. Shake the hands too if you want to. And then stomp the feet. I don't know we're doing the hands here. Just shake the hands and stomp the feet. And let's do notice pose. Extend one leg. Shake it out there. Wiggle it out there. Do the other one. Shake the hips. Also shake the shoulders. Arms out to the side. Notice what you notice. Do you feel more melted, more connected to the floor, the surface that's supporting you? You may not notice this seated on the chair, by the way. And again, just notice what you notice. Very good. Bring a foot back on up, then the other. We're going to go straight into Piriformis bounce. So I'm going to kind of turn sideways because sometimes you can't see this in the video. But, a lot of people just listen to my voice. So what you're going to do is take a leg in the air, shake it like you don't care, and then wiggle it side to side. My pant leg goes up when I do that. And then you're either going to take the leg that's in the air, cross it at the ankle bone, or if it's available, up here on the thigh bone. So that's kind of preparatory for pigeon. So I got to find where my yoga block is. There it is. Okay. So those of you that are seated, if you're not able to bring it here on the thigh, you cross it at the knee, and then you take that yoga strap underneath, because now we got to bounce the leg. You pull it towards you and release. Those of us on the floor, maybe you can push the leg away for bouncing the piriformis. So why are we bouncing the piriformis? Sometimes that sciatic nerve is entrapped in the piriformis muscle. And we're just kind of getting a little motion in there before we do the contraction of the muscles around the hip musculature. Sometimes I take my yoga block and press the leg away. You're seated, maybe you pull it towards you and let it release. That's a little bit easier seated. So pigeon is harder on the chair than it is laying on your back. So kind of remember this one for when you get out of the bed in the morning or before you go to sleep. So this is a nice one to kind of release those hip muscles. All right, from here, we're going to be nice and still. Are we? No, we're not. We're going to take the bottom foot and tap, tap, tap the bottom foot. We do a lot of foot tapping in this class. Calf pumping, sneaky calf pumping. That's good. Now press that bottom foot firm into the floor. You might feel contraction energy going on here from the hip bone to the shoulders to the back of the neck, that kind of thing. Top leg, point your toes towards your knees. You activate that calf. Squeeze both bones. So squeeze. Very good. And then push that top leg away. Now, maybe you want to use the yoga block to push it away. If you're seated, this is going to be spicy. You have your hand on your foot, your hand on your leg. You sit up tall. You hinge forward. You may only have to hinge a half an inch to feel the booty catch on fire, so to speak. Don't forget your bottom foot. Press firmly into that bottom foot. Again, we hold the postures with vigor, all right? That way we get that muscular contraction, stimulate the bone growth, also help with, getting more strength into the lower body. You have this contraction energy going on with the upper body and lower body with our reclined pigeon. I love reclined pigeon just because it's so accessible seated on the chair here on our yoga mat. I don't like hip pigeon because it kind of wrecks my SI joint dysfunction, but here I can control it a lot more. Relax everything. Woo! Thank goodness. Bounce that top leg a little bit. Very good. And then bring the leg back into the sky. Shake it. Wiggle it. Do your clothes adjustment if you need to. And bring that leg down. We're going to do the other side. So bring the other leg into the air. Here we go. It wants to do this too. And then wiggle side to side. This feels weird to me. The wiggling side to side. That's just me though, okay? Well, maybe it's you too. I don't know. And then decide, are you going to cross it at the ankle bone? If so, slide that strap underneath the knee pit or bring it here on top. Now your knee may be way up if you're seated. It's okay, all right? Bring the leg towards you and let it drop if you're seated. If you're on the floor, maybe use your yoga block and bounce that piriformis muscle. So sciatica sometimes gets entrapped into the pelvic notch alongside the piriformis muscle, maybe in the piriformis muscle. And it might cause burning, tingling. You know, sciatica usually is a moving thing because depending where it gets pinched, maybe it's pinched in the spine, and maybe a spinal stenosis, narrowing of the spinal cavity. Maybe, again, it's in the piriformis, the pelvic notch, maybe some other areas. Maybe it's one leg and not the other. Who knows? Yeah. Depending, again, where it originates from. It may be 2 or 3 areas, by the way. Okay, then make everything still. We're going to tap, tap, tap the bottom foot. Get a little vibrational energy here. I love it. And then press that bottom foot firm into the floor. Woo, very good. I'm going to move my ankle bone a little bit. It was right. It was knobbing me, yeah. Then I'm going to take my toes, point them towards my knee. Ooh. Squeeze both buns and push top leg away. You can do it with your own muscular strength, but again, I like to do the yoga block because I can push it maybe a little more than I should. Just a little, not much. Again, don't forget squeezing both buns. Pressing bottom foot. I always lose the bottom foot. I imagine y'all do too. Press the bottom foot into the floor. Get it all contracted. Let's not forget to breathe. Just breathe. Ooh, I'm stuffy. Oh my. I can feel all the drainage going down the back of my throat. I know that's gross, right? Yeah, it is what it is. Woo! Stay here just a little bit more if you can stand it. Return your attention to the breath when you're in a challenging place. Remember that. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm doing the ujjayi breath when I kind of contract the back of the throat and I make that little shushy noise or that Darth Vader noise. Not so much to where I dry out my throat. Let's do it again. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, release the squeeze. Bounce the leg. And then bring the leg in the air. Wiggle it. All right, let's go back and do windshield wiper again. So bring your feet back on down. I'm going to go back and be on my yoga mat long ways. And then drop a knee out to the side. Ooh, notice how that feels now. Might feel more open, might not. Take that top leg. Man, and then if you take your hand underneath, are you clearing the surface a little bit? Mine's like up here in my mid back a lot in that twist. Bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. If you need to kind of readjust your back, once you come back to that center, do that. Other side. Here we go. Drop the knee out to the side. Notice how it feels. It might feel getting close to yummy. That's my description for it. It's like, ooh, that's nice. Top leg towards the bottom leg. I don't know if yummy is a good word for it. I don't know. I got to think of another word for this. Well, I can't think. Anyway, again, I'm going to slide that hand underneath. I'm just noticing what I notice. And again, if you need to use that counter pressure, that heel of the hand, might be nice here. Again, do what you can with what you got. Woo! Squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. You know what? We're going to do notice pose. Extend the leg, extend the other, wiggle the feet, wiggle the hip bones, wiggle the shoulder bones. And then this might be close to nap time. We're almost there, I think, because I'm feeling like, wow, the muscles are really kind of sinking into the surface that's supporting me. We got to do block bridge, though. Let's do block bridge. Let's see how far we can get more easement in the body. So this doesn't translate well to the chair, especially if you have an open back chair, but, we do the best we can. Maybe you want to transfer the couch if you're doing this seated on the chair, but you're going to bring your feet back to constructive rest pose. Very good. And then you can either use your hand, lift your booty up, or maybe you got the strength to lift your booty up and slide that block underneath.
And then I got to make some adjustments here. Okay. I bring it a little bit more low away from my spine. And then this feels kind of crunchy for me. So I kind of walk my shoulders up and away, retuck my chin into my chest. And again, you can do this without a block. You don't have to do this with a block, but what we're going to do, this feels very nice for me, and hopefully for you too. Maybe not. We'll just see, okay? Bring a leg in the air, shake it. A lot of shaking in this class. Again, I'm going to move my shoulders away a little bit. Shake the legs side to side. So I'm very curious, what your pain levels were at the beginning, what they are going to be at the end of class, maybe your stress levels too. We have found that there was a 72% reduction in pain levels and a 76% reduction in stress levels. All right, that leg that's in the air, bring it on down, just with one class. Woo! Bring the other leg up. Now, a key component for reducing chronic pain, I have chronic pain because of my back, is the yoga nidra meditation that helps folks get to sleep, helps reduce chronic pain, helps with anxiety and other kind of PTS type of symptoms. Shake it side to side. We're waking the energy channels in our body with the shaking. That's why I like the shaking, folks, okay? Now, if you want to, bring the other leg up. Let's do a little competition here. Shake them both. Does one shake differently than the other? They might. Who knows? And then the side to side wiggles. I don't like this one, but I know I need to do it. And then shake them. I always go back to shaking. And then wiggle side to side. You're probably going, oh, when's this going to end? In just a sec, okay? One more time. Shake, 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 shake. And let's bring one leg down. There might be some tingling going on. And the other. Woo! Now you're going to press into the floor to where you can lift up, release the block, roll your spine down. Now, sometimes I do feel grabby in my body. So again, I roll my shoulder up and away. The other one. So I feel very melted into the surface that support me. Yes, we're going to do notice pose. Extend a leg. Wow. I hope this is wow for you too. Maybe. And then the other. Shake the feet. Wriggle the hip bones. Wriggle the shoulder bones. I can't say that word. Just breathe here for a second. Stare at the ceiling. Notice the belly rising as you breathe in. Or maybe you're going to notice it now. And then exhale, let it release. I got me a big belly, so sometimes you can't see my belly moving. Again, breathe in, belly out. We're doing that Alzheimer's prevention breath. Exhale, let it release. Beautiful. Yay. I'm excited for y'all. So we're going to slide our feet back onto the yoga mat. And then for me, because I have SI joint dysfunction, I lift up and then turn over to my side. Otherwise, it's like massive pain. And sometimes I feel dizzy when I roll over to my side. So I just kind of stay here for a sec. Then I'll extend my top leg and push into my hand that's in front of me, come up to kind of like a halfway place and drag my yoga blocks over while I'm here. Woo! And then come up to a seated place. Now, for me, it's spicy to sit on the floor. You've been my class. I just keep repeating the same stuff. This is a class that, if you like things to be the same, we do the same things generally. We mix some things in. So I'm taking my yoga blanket and I'm going to fold it into thirds. So I do that because I took restorative yoga, and one of the things they talked about was how you fold your yoga blankets. They're very specific and weird about that. Yeah. And then I've got this edge going on with my yoga blanket, and I'm going to sit on that edge. So I got to kind of lift up, be on that edge. So that doesn't elevate me very tall, but what that allows to happen is my pelvis rolls forward. So I don't feel like I'm rolled to the back of the room. And then what I'm going to do, I see your message there. I'm going to place a block underneath the knee and then the other. And again, readjust here a little bit. Ooh, man, that feels really good. Usually I only have one yoga block, and so I've got that knee more towards the floor. But this, again, I've got knee and back issues, so this makes it more comfortable for me. So why do we do this posture? Again, you can do this seated in the chair. I like to do side lateral flexion and unsupported twists when we're here.
we'll do cat-cow also. So these are the essential spinal movements we do to keep the spine flexible. So I'm going to move my feet a little bit. Okay. So from here, let's do unsupported twists. In yoga for back care, we don't do the things where we take an arm to the opposite leg and then twist. So that's forcing a twist. So this is called a levered twist. Unlevered is we do this letter W with our upper back. Bonus, we're strengthening the upper back musculature. So always a bonus. I like the bonuses. And then we'll breathe in, belly big, squeeze those shoulders. Now, from the collarbone down to your pubic bone, that thoracic spine, we're going to turn over towards one side. I keep my chin aligned with my chest when I do that, and I super squeeze those shoulders. Sometimes I lose the outside shoulder. I just re-squeeze. And then from here, breathe in, bring it back to the center, woo, and release. Ooh. Sometimes we're holding that a little bit. It feels kind of like, ooh, achy. So just kind of do the little wriggle here. This also helps with lymphatic flow, the shoulder shuffle. All right, and I hear a little snap, crackle, pops happening here. Let's re-engage. So squeeze the shoulders, letter W with the elbows. Use your imagination, okay? Breathe in, belly big, and then twist over to the other side. Here we go. Twist, twist, twist. Ooh, I twisted more. Did you twist more on this side? Maybe. Stay here, breathe in, squeeze those shoulders. Exhale back to the center and release. Wow. We're going to do the dowager's hump prevention. So it's a weird yoga posture, folks. We're going to squeeze the shoulders up towards our ears. It looks funny. Yes, that's okay. Then we're going to try to turn towards one side and then release it down. The best part is releasing it down, coming back to the center. Other side, squeeze it up towards your ear bones. Squeeze your armpits while you do this too. And then turn it over to the other side. Your own range of motion, yeah? Squeeze, 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 and release it down. Wow. Alternate those shoulder rolls or alternative. I'm not sure how to say that. I guess it's both ways. And then reverse. Okay, if you need to switch the feet or maybe take the yoga blocks out, that feels okay today. You can, do a little modification there. Ooh, no, that one knee needs it. Let's do side lateral flexion. So we're going to inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Keep one hand up, bring a hand down either on the chair, back behind you, or out to the side. Move that yoga block. Inhale up, and then reach over. So we're kind of stretching out of that hip pocket, so to speak. Now, what sometimes I do is I inchworm my arm out, and I go a little bit lower with that support. Then I got to inchworm it back and release it down. Woo! Again, that's that reaching the top shelf for that can of zucchini. Yeah. Other side, inhaling up. That's why it's on the top shelf. We never get that can. Bring it back behind you. Feel that squeeze. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. Wriggle, wriggle, wriggle. Okay, here we go. Ooh, notice if one side feels a little different than the other. Bring it back on up and down. Very good. While we're here, let's do cat-cow. We're not going to get on our hands and knees today. I just made that executive decision, but we do have to do that spinal flexion and extension. So hands on the shin bones, whether you're seated here on the floor or standing, curve your spine to the back of the room. Try to have your eyes, your chin looking forward. Don't drop the chin towards the chest. That's too much for that cervical spine for back yoga folks. And then we're going to come out of that pelvic tilt, come up to seated mountain. And then we're going to take the hands, elbows out, hinge forward like in forward fold, but this is called cow pose. You might be folding more if you're seated in the chair. It kind of depends, yeah? And then come back on up to tall, seated mountain. We're going to curve to the back of the room again. So hang on. Here we go. Curve, curve, curve. And again, you're looking forward into the camera. Woo! Y'all feel that little kind of curve happening? Like your back is like kind of opening up when you do the cat posture. That's how it feels for me. And then come out, be tall mountain. Sometimes it's spicy doing that pelvic tilt. Go slower. Hands forward. Here we go. Cow pose. And then come back on up. Beautiful. We're going to transition to standing. So y'all going to come up however you do, but I use the chair because, again, for me, I need that little bit of support. I'll go ahead and cue how to get up off the floor. I'm going to move that blanket out of the way. You'll come onto your hands and knees if you're one of these hands and knees folks. And you bring a foot up in between the hands. You can use your hand on a yoga block or a hand, in my case, on the chair. I curl that back toe, lift up, and I hop walk that back leg towards the forward leg. And at the hips, hands on the hips, I hinge my body to an upright position. So again, when you're upright, sometimes you can get those dizzy sensations. Feet wide, hands to heart center, chin towards your chest. Breathe. In and out. Again. So in back yoga, you try not to do asymmetrical poses, especially if you have SI joint dysfunction. When you roll around in the bed from one side to the other and you feel this like searing pain happening kind of in your pelvic bones, it's an indication that you're not like really, it's kind of shifted. So we don't necessarily do warrior one posture because you have one hip forward, one hip back. Hip pigeon is similar to that. That's why reclined pigeon is really nice. I use a chair for my standing warrior poses. You do not have to do that. It's up to you. But I like to go a little deeper in my posture. Again, we're going to be vigorous, all right? So we're going to step our feet wide. If you're doing the chair versions, hopefully there's not a new person. Maybe there is. Or you're going to have your knees pointed here, and you're going to take a leg out to the side. So your legs look like a letter L. Again, being vigorous, we're going to lift the heel, turn the foot towards the short end of the yoga mat, bend the knee towards the short end of the yoga mat. Now, I'm going to heel toe my other foot nice and wide. So how you do the vigorous here, whether you're on the chair, whether you're standing, you press down, kind of like mountain pose, and press away with those legs. So you kind of really get that hip musculature engaged. And check to see, is your knee aligned with your foot, foot aligned with your knee? Maybe bend the knee a little bit. From here, hands to heart center, hands on the chair. Go back to letter W, squeezed shoulders. So I want you to engage the upper body and the lower body equally. And then go ahead with the squeezy shoulders, arms out into a letter T. Bend the knee a little bit more. Hand optional on the chair if you're feeling that wriggly business, yeah? Those of us with back challenges usually also have balance challenges. Just kind of happens that way because everything's not the same. We're going to move through the posture. The way we do that is we inhale, straighten the leg, hands to heart center. You don't straighten the leg when you're doing the seated version, but you do the hands, okay? And then exhale, bend the knees, squeeze the shoulders, arms out into a letter T. Very nice. Inhale, bring it back to the center. Keep the squeeze if you can. Big old breath. Bend the knee, arms out into a letter T. Big, vigorous breath, too. Inhaling back to the center. Very good. Squeeze the shoulders if you need to. I need to. Exhale, arms out into a letter T. Now stay here. Oh, my. There may be some wiggling going on. Now, we sometimes do arm circles, but we didn't set up for that today. We're going to do basketball dribbles. So the arms are out into a letter T. Basically, when we do this in chair Tai Chi, our arms go up and down. Keep squeezing the shoulders. Just up and down. Squeeze the shoulders. Feet firm. So we're adding a little challenge to the pose by adding a little movement here. Palms down. Keeping the warrior two stance for that bone building benefit. Squeeze in the shoulders for that upper back musculature, strengthening contraction. And release. Wriggle the shoulders up and down. Wriggle the hands. Go ahead and straighten the leg, pivot the foot, walk it in. I use the chair to help walk it in. Sometimes I forget. I have lotion on my feet. I'll slip. Other side. Bring that leg over to the center, over to the other side. If you're doing the seated, step it out. Warrior two on the other side. Lift the heel, turn the foot, bend the knee. Get your adjustment going on. So I hang on to the chair until I kind of check everything out. Okay. Now, again, invite vigor into your posture. Press down, press away. So you may notice that grabbing your hip bones. So that's a good thing, okay? We're going to go back to that letter W with our squeezy shoulders. Notice if it feels different on this side versus the other. It might, who knows? And then arms out into the letter T with the squeeze of the shoulders. No more. Sometimes one arm is lower than the other. Woo! Now, again, we're going to move through this. We're going to do the different movement though. So we're still going to straighten the leg, arms up overhead if you can manage that, or hands to heart center. Inhaling to the center. Exhale, squeeze the shoulders as you lower into that letter T. We'll try to straighten the leg too, somewhat straight. Inhaling up. And then press into those feet. Press those feet away. Squeeze those shoulders. I love it. Let's do that again. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Ooh, kind of wriggly there. Inhaling up. Now let's hold the pose. Hold the pose, not the breath. Now we're going to take the palms up. Okay. And then feet firm, pressing down, and start that movement. Hello, shoulders. Ooh, my shoulders are going, yeah, I don't like this conversation we're having right now. It's a challenging thing. Maybe. 3 more. 3. I don't know how to count. 2. And 1. Woo, release. Wriggle up and down. Shake it. Straighten that leg. Pivot the foot. Walk it in. Oh my. Again, you can use a chair or not. If you're doing the tree pose seated, you got to grab your yoga block and place a foot on the yoga block way far away. You're at the edge of your chair. You already know how to get in the tree. You're doing that. And then you're pressing the ball of the foot. So for seated tree, I like this. But you still have to, you can't just lay your feet here. You have to press into the floor, okay? You're doing the standing tree. Take a foot out, turn that foot, lift that heel, bring it in. You're pressing firm into the floor, maybe into the ball of the foot, maybe into the calf. Maybe your hand is on the wall and you're stepping the foot out and you're bringing it in. So I'm kind of wiggly today. Sometimes that leg likes to come to the front of the room. We try to invite it to be out to the side. And just kind of notice if your standing foot, is it pointing straight forward or is it turned to the side? Again, it's a bone building posture, but we don't hold this one for 30 seconds. We just do a little bit and release. Switch it over to the other side. So here we go. Again, step it out, lift the heel, turn the foot. Sometimes I jut my hip. That's not a cool thing. Have it straight, okay, as best you can. There's nothing that's saying that you can't have the foot down on the floor. You press down and away or into your calf or the inner thigh. Maybe an arm or 2 arms go up. Maybe I hang onto the chair. I hang onto the chair because I've got the swaying tree going on this side. Very good. And release. So on our Veterans Yoga Project YouTube channel, there is a movement series called 8 Movement Meditation. And we're going to do that next. So whether you're seated, whether you're standing, we're going to go back to mountain pose. And then from here, we have our hands out to the sides. We're going to inhale, gather in. Exhale, raise to shoulder level. Inhale, open up. Way back behind you. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, float it towards your chest. Exhale, push it away. Inhale, lower. Exhale, open up. So coordinating the breath with the movement helps to lower your cortisol, your stress hormone. Let's do that again. Inhale, gather in. Exhale, raise it up to shoulder height. Inhale, open up. Exhale, bring it in. Inhaling towards your chest. Exhale, push it forward. Inhale, lower. Exhale, out to the side. From here, another bone building posture. Back posture is chair pose. If you're seated in the chair, come to the edge and you're going to press vigorously into the floor, and you don't have to come up off the chair. But the rest of us, inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, sink down. Now try not to have the knees come together, especially if the feet are apart a little bit. And then press into the floor. Let's inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Come on up. Exhale, bend the knees, lower. Again, breathe in. Up, 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 up. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhaling, circle, sweep arms up. Exhale, stay in the pose. Uh-oh. Keep breathing though. From here, basketball dribble, alternate them, and then palms up, alternate them. And then last time, inhale, circle, sweep arms up, hands to heart center. All right, let's come back down to our resting place, down to the floor, back into our chair. Let's kind of test how we feel with the challenges that are going on with our backside. So laying down on the yoga mat in that constructive rest posture. Now, some folks will put their legs on the chair when we do the final relaxation, or legs on the wall. So those are some options available to you. Lie down on your back. Notice what you notice here. Knees bent. We're back to constructive rest pose. Let's do windshield wipers once again. So drop a knee out to the side. Notice how it feels in your body. Should feel a little different, hopefully better, not worse. Top leg towards the bottom leg. Notice your low lumbar twist happening here, how it feels in the body. Very good. Bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Other side. Drop the knee to the side. Oop, I hit the wall there. I'm kind of closer to the wall this time. And then top leg towards the bottom leg. Ooh, notice what you notice. Bring the top leg back, bottom leg back. Let's do the notice pose. So extend a leg, wiggle that foot a little bit, extend the other one, wriggle the shoulders. You should feel more connected to the floor, to the surface that's supporting you. Do you have a blanket you want to cover up with? Or, sometimes I take my yoga strap, cover up my eyes. We're doing the guided rest and relaxation now. So I invite you to get comfortable. This is typically where I come up to the front of the room and do our guided rest and relaxation. So what you're doing at this point right now is getting a little bit more comfortable, whether you've decided to have knees bent, feet apart. That's often very, feels good in the body, especially those of us with back challenges. Squeak. Some people put their legs on the chair and scooch away, get that little traction feeling. So you do you, whatever feels good for you today. Just notice your breath. Don't change it in any way. Just notice, how does it feel here to breathe in? How does it feel here to breathe out? What I like to take folks through is what they call an elongated breath. That helps us to reduce that blood pressure, to reduce that heart rate. I use it all the time when I go to the doctor's office and they're doing that blood pressure cuff, because I always tend to have a little bit high unless I'm kind of thinking of that, yeah? So what I will do is I'll clap my hands 4 times as we breathe in. We'll pause, and then I'll clap my hands 5 times as we exhale. If you can't do that, just do whatever you can, all right? So here we go. Let's breathe in. Pausing, then slowly exhale. Again, breathe in, belly big. Slowly exhale. Once again, breathe in, belly big. Last time, slowly exhale. Good. From here, imagine there's this, you have the crown of your head and there's this little hole opening up, and it's bringing in that healing sunshine, and it's saturating every cell in the body, going from the top of the head through the face, through the neck, the shoulders, the upper back, the upper chest, through the torso, the hips, the behind, down one leg, down the other leg, all the way from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes, that healing bright light. It's saturating every bone, every muscle, every tendon, all the layers of the skin. Maybe you need a little bit in one area versus the other. So again, imagining directing that healing light to that area as you breathe in, as you breathe out. And then from here, I invite you to come back into the now, back into the present moment. So wiggle those toes a little bit, wiggle those fingers, maybe kind of pump those calves, move the feet, move the wrists. If you're lying on your back, you're starting to come off that chair, you're starting to roll over onto your side. Those of us seated in the chair, you bring those knees wide. Those of us on the ground, roll over onto your side, slowly come up to a seated place. And then from here, all of us that are here, let's drop the chin towards the chest, get that upper neck back stretch going on. It's also to help facilitate feeling more equal in the body, the equilibrium. And then bring the eyes back to gaze forward. Now have the hands on the legs and let's do wide upper body circles. Just to kind of invite a little bit of movement back into the body. Ooh. Notice what you notice here. And then let's pause, completely stop, and then go the other direction. Here we go. If you prefer to do this standing, that works too. So some folks are like, get me off the floor. And then come back to the center. Let's do a seated or a standing cat-cow. Hands on the legs, curve to the back of the chair, the back of the room. Get that kind of curvy back going on. And you slowly come out of that pelvic tilt. And then let's hinge forward for that forward fold for that cow posture. Let's come back up to tall seated mountain. Now we're going to do a levered twist. We're going to take an opposite hand over to the leg and we're going to kind of twist a little bit and then hinge forward. Just do what you can that's okay, comfortable, okay? And then bring it back on up, come back to the center, take that other hand over to the leg and then twist a little bit and then hinge forward. Not much, just to kind of get a little bit of shoulder, side body stretch going on here. And then come back on up. Very good. Clap the hands. Get a little heat here. We're going to do one tapping sequence, and that is tap, tap, tap on the outside of the arm. Get on the shoulder, raise your arm up, go to the armpit, bring it down the side body to that hip bone, to the belly bone, bring it up, and get that shoulder right here. Pound it out, and come down the inside of the arm. Clap the hands, kind of shake off that stress. Okay, other side. Clap the hands again. Woo, little bit of heat here, or a lot of heat. And let's get it going on this side. Tap, tap, tap. Palm of the hand. Go to that shoulder, my favorite place. Raise your arm up, go to the armpit. Very good. Bring it down the side body. You may need to twist a little bit. And down the hip bone, the belly bone. Bring it up. Get that shoulder once again. And then I do a palm up here and bring it down the inside. Clap the hands. And again, kind of slough off that excess energy, as I like to call it. All right, let's bring our hands to heart center and drop the chin towards our chest, just in gratitude of y'all showing up today. I appreciate your dedication, discipline, and determination, and that responsibility for signing up for a class, coming to class, maybe watching a recording. That's your journey towards self-healing. I love it. Again, don't forget the yoga nidra practices for reducing that chronic pain. All right, so let's think about one thing we're grateful for today. Grab it, clasp it, place it into our heart space. And then bring your eyes open, gaze forward. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. Let's take the peace, the strength, and the